Lucy Carter stood at the entrance of the Interstellar Military Academy, her heart pounding in her chest. The massive doors loomed before her, carved with symbols representing the 23 species of the Galactic Confederation. Humans had only recently joined, and Lucy was the first of her kind to be accepted into the academy. She took a deep breath and adjusted her standard-issue cadet uniform, which felt stiff and uncomfortable against her skin. The fabric was designed for the tougher hides of alien species, not human softness. Like everything else at the academy, it wasn't made with humans in mind. "Move aside, Earth creature," growled a voice behind her. Lucy stepped to the right as a hulking Dravek pushed past. His scaly skin gleamed like polished bronze in the morning sunlight, rippling over muscles twice the size of hers. He didn't spare her a second glance as he stomped through the entrance. Lucy sighed and picked up her bags. She knew what she was getting into when she applied. Being the first human at the academy would be hard, but she hadn't come here to make friends. She'd come to prove that humans belonged among the stars. The entrance hall buzzed with activity as cadets from across the galaxy reunited after break or explored their new home. Lucy felt their stares as she made her way to the registration desk. Some looked curious, others dismissive or even hostile. "Name and planet of origin," said the bored-looking Solari clerk at the desk, their translucent skin glowing faintly in the dim light. "Lucy Carter, Earth." The clerk's large eyes widened slightly. "Ah, the human experiment. Commander Vexthar said you would arrive today." They handed her a small metal rectangle. "This is your room assignment and schedule. Your quarters are in Building C, room 237. "Thank you," Lucy said, taking the device. The clerk blinked slowly. "Do not thank me. I am simply performing my function." They turned to the cadet behind Lucy, effectively dismissing her. Lucy found her way through the maze-like campus to Building C, a tall gray structure that seemed to be made entirely of angles and shadows. Inside, cadets hurried through the halls, some floating, others slithering, most walking on 2 or more legs. None of them looked like her. Room 237 was at the end of a long corridor. Lucy pressed her thumb against the scanner, and the door slid, open to reveal a sparse space with 2 beds, 2 desks, and 2 storage units. One side of the room was already occupied, decorated with strange crystalline structures and what appeared to be weapons mounted on the wall. "So you are the human." The voice came from behind her. Lucy turned to see a tall, 4-armed Kintari female with purple skin and silver markings around her eyes. "I am Tazra. We are to be roommates, it seems." "Nice to meet you." "I'm Lucy." Tazra walked past Lucy and sat on her bed. "I requested a Mirax roommate, someone who could be a worthy training partner." She looked Lucy up and down. "Instead, they give me this curiosity." Lucy bit her tongue and began unpacking her things. "I'm not here to be a curiosity. I'm here to train, just like you." Tazra made a clicking sound that Lucy's translator didn't catch, probably laughter. "Humans are so small and soft. What can you possibly hope to achieve here? The youngest Dravik cadet could break you with one hand." "Maybe," Lucy said calmly, arranging her few personal items on her desk. "But there's more to combat than physical strength." Tazra waved a dismissive hand. "We shall see. The first physical assessment is tomorrow morning. Perhaps after that you will understand your place." Lucy didn't respond. She'd heard it all before during the application process. Too frail, too slow, too emotional. But the Alliance needed human soldiers, and this was the first step toward integration. Her success or failure would determine whether more humans would follow. The academy bell chimed, indicating dinner time. Tazra left without waiting for Lucy, who finished her unpacking before heading to the mess hall. The large room was filled with sound and smells, some pleasant, others that made her stomach turn. Lucy picked up a tray and joined the food line, trying to identify items that looked safe for human consumption. "The blue protein cubes are compatible with your digestive system," said a soft voice beside her. Lucy turned to find a small Solari male with pale, nearly transparent skin and large, intelligent eyes. I am Zell, the Academy AI alerted kitchen staff about your dietary needs. Thanks, Lucy said, selecting a few blue cubes and what looked like vegetables. It's nice of you to help. Curiosity, not kindness, Zell replied, though his voice held no malice. Humans are rare in this sector. Most believe your species is too primitive for space travel, let alone combat training. Lucy followed him to a table near the back of the hall. And what do you believe? Zell's skin flickered with patterns of light, the Solari equivalent of a shrug. I believe in observation over assumption. The Kintari thought the same of my people once. Now we design their weapon systems. They sat at an empty table, though Lucy noticed several nearby cadets watching them. So why help me? She asked, poking at her food. As I said, curiosity. Also, he hesitated. I know what it is to be underestimated. He gestured to his frail body. Solari are physically weak. We compensate with intelligence. Perhaps humans have their own compensations. Before Lucy could respond, a shadow fell across their table. She looked up to see a large Dravek in an instructor's uniform. His amber eyes fixed on her with open disdain. Cadet Carter, he said, his voice a deep rumble. I am Commander Vexthar, head combat instructor. I want to make something clear. He leaned down, his scaled face inches from hers. Your presence here is political, nothing more. The Council insisted we accept a human to maintain diplomatic relations, but make no mistake, you do not belong here. Lucy met his gaze steadily. With respect, Commander, I earned my place like everyone else. Vexthar's laugh was like stones grinding together. You passed a modified entrance exam, designed for your species' limitations. Tomorrow's assessment follows the real Academy standards. I look forward to seeing how you measure up. He straightened and addressed the room at large. Attention, cadets. The betting pool on how long the human lasts is now open. My credits are on 3 days. Laughter rippled through the mess hall. Lucy felt her cheeks burn, but she kept her face neutral as Vexthar walked away. He should not have done that, Zell said quietly. It violates Academy protocol. Does it matter? Lucy pushed her tray away, her appetite gone. He's right about one thing. Tomorrow everyone will see exactly what I'm made of. That night, after Tazra had fallen asleep, Lucy slipped out of bed and changed into her training clothes. She crept through the silent halls until she found the training room she'd spotted earlier. It was empty as she'd hoped. Lucy activated her personal training program on her device and began stretching. The Academy might expect her to fail, but she hadn't come all this way to give up before she'd even started. Let them laugh. Let them bet against her. She would show them what humans could do. Lucy woke before the Academy alarm, her muscles sore from last night's secret training session. She slipped out of bed quietly, careful not to disturb Tazra, who slept soundly with all 4 arms crossed over her chest. Today was the first physical assessment. Lucy knew she couldn't match the raw strength or speed of her alien classmates, but she had her own plan. She wouldn't try to beat them at their own game. She would play a different one entirely. After a quick shower, Lucy headed to the assessment arena. The massive circular space was empty except for a lone figure standing in the center. As Lucy approached, she recognized the woman's human features with a surge of surprise. Cadet Carter, the woman said, her voice crisp and professional. I'm Major Dana Powell, tactical instructor. Lucy snapped to attention. Ma'am, I didn't know there was another human at the Academy. At ease, Cadet. Major Powell's expression softened slightly. I've been here 5 years, the only human until you arrived. She studied Lucy with keen eyes. You're early. Assessment doesn't start for another hour. I wanted to get familiar with the space, ma'am, Powell nodded. Smart. The others rely on natural abilities. They don't prepare like we have to. She hesitated, then added, I watched your entrance exam recordings. You have potential, but you'll need more than that today. Any advice, ma'am? Don't try to outmuscle a Dravek or outrun a Mierax. Find your own path. Powell checked her watch. I have to prepare the simulation. Good luck, Carter. Remember, they're expecting you to fail. Use that. As other cadets began filing in, Lucy found a quiet corner to continue her stretches. She noticed Zell enter and gave him a small wave. You look calm, he said, joining her. Most first-years vomit before their initial assessment. Just hiding my terror, well, Lucy replied with a slight smile. Commander Vexithar strode into the arena, flanked by other instructors. Cadets, form ranks by species. Lucy stood alone in her section while the other species formed larger groups. Vexthar's eyes lingered on her for a moment before he continued. Today's assessment has 3 components: strength, speed, and combat simulation. Your scores will determine your training regimen for the next quarter. His scaled lips curled into what might have been a smile. Let's begin with strength. The first test involved lifting increasingly heavy weights. Lucy watched as Dravek cadets easily hoisted weights that would crush her. When her turn came, she managed a respectable showing for a human, but finished in the bottom quarter of the class. The speed test followed, a complex obstacle course designed to test agility and reflexes. The feline Mirax dominated this event, their bodies a blur as they twisted and leaped through the course. Lucy finished in the bottom third, though she noticed several non-Mirax cadets performed worse than she did. Finally came the combat simulation. Cadets entered a virtual arena where they faced progressively difficult opponents. Lucy waited nervously. As others emerged from the simulation, some jubilant, others disappointed. When Lucy's turn came, she stepped into the chamber and found herself in a rocky landscape. A humanoid figure appeared before her, matching her height but with greater muscle mass. Begin, said the AI voice of the simulator. The opponent charged. Lucy sidestepped, using the alien's momentum against it. The fight continued with Lucy avoiding direct confrontation, instead using the environment and the opponent's aggression to her advantage. She lasted longer than expected but eventually took a hit that ended the simulation. Lucy emerged from the chamber to find Commander Vexithar watching, her with narrowed eyes. Interesting strategy, human, he said, but evasion is not victory. Sometimes survival is victory, sir, Lucy replied. A flicker of something, perhaps respect, perhaps annoyance, crossed his face before he turned away. The assessment results were posted that afternoon. As expected, Lucy ranked low overall, but not last. She stood staring at the scores when a message appeared on her device. Meet me in Training Room 4 at 2100 hours. Major Powell. That evening, after her regular classes, Lucy slipped away to Training Room 4. She found Major Powell waiting with a collection of unusual equipment. Your performance today was adequate, Powell said, without preamble. But adequate won't change minds. I know, ma'am. The Academy's training systems are designed for alien physiology. We need to create a program specifically for you. Powell activated a holographic display. I've been studying human combat potential since I arrived. We have advantages they don't understand. Like what? Lucy asked, intrigued. Endurance, adaptability, pain tolerance, psychological warfare. Powell pulled up a simulation. The aliens evolved on worlds with stable environments. Humans come from a planet of constant change. It makes us different. For the next hour, Powell put Lucy through a series of tests unlike any standard academy training. They focused on stamina, quick problem-solving, and turning disadvantages into strengths. Train with me 3 nights a week, Powell said as they finished. The rest of the time, keep using the standard systems but modify your approach. Don't try to be a stronger Dravek. Be a better human. Lucy nodded, exhausted but excited. Thank you, ma'am. Don't thank me yet. This will be the hardest training you've ever done. And keep it quiet. I'm bending regulations by giving you extra help. Lucy returned to her room to find Tazra sitting at her desk, examining Lucy's notes from the day's classes. Your tactical analysis is surprisingly insightful, Tazra said without looking up. I did not expect a human to understand Kintari battle formations. Lucy wasn't sure if it was a compliment or another insult. We have military history on Earth, too. Tazra handed back the notes. You performed better than expected today. Not well, but better than expected. Thanks, I think. Do not misunderstand. I still believe you will fail, but perhaps it will take longer than 3 days. Tazra's upper arms crossed while her lower hands tapped a rhythm on her knees, a Kintari gesture Lucy didn't understand. The betting pool has shifted. Commander Vexthar now says 2 weeks. Lucy felt a flare of determination. What did you bet? Tazra's 4 eyes blinked in sequence. I did not place a bet. Gambling on a classmate's failure seems dishonorable. It was the closest thing to kindness Lucy had received from her roommate. She nodded her thanks and prepared for bed, her body aching from the day's exertions. As she drifted off to sleep, Lucy thought about what Major Powell had said. The aliens expected her to fight like them and fail. Instead, she would fight like a human and surprise them all. In the darkness of their room, Lucy didn't notice Tazra watching her with a new calculating interest. Weeks passed at the Interstellar Military Academy. Lucy settled into a grueling routine. She woke before dawn for personal training, attended regular classes, completed evening training with the other cadets, then met with Major Powell 3 nights a week for specialized human combat techniques. Her body changed, growing leaner and stronger. Not Dravek strong or Kintari agile, but human strong, human agile, something different altogether. One evening, Lucy sat with Zell in the Academy library, studying for their upcoming tactical theory exam. The Solari had become her closest friend. At the Academy, their mutual status as physical weaklings forming an unexpected bond. You move differently now, Zell observed, his translucent skin pulsing with patterns of light that indicated curiosity. More efficient, Lucy smiled. Major Powell's training. She says humans evolved to be persistence hunters. We're not the fastest or strongest, but we can keep going when others tire. Fascinating. Most species developed burst capabilities, intense, strength or speed for short periods. Zell's large eyes blinked slowly. Your approach is unusual. That's the point. I'll never beat a Dravek at arm wrestling or outrun a Mirax, but I might outlast them. Their conversation was interrupted by a chime from the Academy-wide announcement system. Attention all cadets. The mid-year survival challenge will begin tomorrow at 600. Team assignments are now available on your personal devices. Prepare accordingly. Lucy checked her device and frowned. I'm on Team 7, under Krev's leadership. The Dravek from combat class. Zell's skin darkened slightly, the Solari equivalent of a grimace. He has been vocal about human inferiority. Great, Lucy sighed. 3 days of being called soft skin while carrying everyone's gear. Remember what Major Powell taught you, Zell said. They underestimate you. Use that. The next morning, Lucy reported to the assembly area with her survival pack. 20 teams of 5 cadets each waited for instructions. She found Team 7 and approached cautiously. Krev, a massive Dravek with dark green scales and amber eyes, looked down at her with open disdain. The human. How unfortunate. The rest of the team consisted of Mars, a female Mirax with sleek fur and quick eyes, Dozik, a bulky 4-armed Kintari male, and Fen, a slim, amphibious Aquari with webbed hands and iridescent skin. Commander Vexthar stepped onto the platform. Cadets, the survival challenge tests your ability to function as a team in hostile environments. Each team will navigate to the extraction point through varying terrains and obstacles. This is not just a physical test, but one of leadership, adaptability, and unity. The teams were transported to different starting points in the massive environmental simulator that took up an entire section of the Academy grounds. Team 7 found themselves in a dense jungle environment, hot and humid with strange alien vegetation surrounding them. I will lead, Krev announced immediately. Mars will scout ahead. Dozik, you take point with me. Fen will handle water obstacles. He turned to Lucy. Human, you carry the supply pack. Lucy bit back a retort and took the heavy pack without complaint. This wasn't the time to assert herself. Let them think she was weak. Let them underestimate her. The first day passed without major incident. The team navigated through the jungle efficiently, avoiding most hazards thanks to Mars's keen eyes. Lucy kept pace despite the heavy pack, something Krev seemed to note, with mild surprise. As night fell, they made camp in a small clearing. Temperatures dropped rapidly, and the team huddled around a small heating unit. First watch rotation, Krev said. I'll take first, then Dozik, Mars, Fen, and the human last. Lucy nodded, knowing this meant she would get the least rest before morning. Another test, another chance to prove her endurance. The second day brought new challenges. The jungle gave way to rocky terrain with thin air and extreme temperature fluctuations. The alien cadets began to struggle with the constantly changing conditions. This environment is difficult. Fen gasped, her gills fluttering as she tried to extract enough oxygen from the thin air. The simulator must be malfunctioning. Not malfunctioning, Lucy said quietly. This is like Earth's mountain regions, unpredictable, always changing. Krev shot her a suspicious look. You seem unaffected. Lucy shrugged. Humans evolved on a planet like this. We're used to adapting. As the day wore on, the team slowed considerably. Dozik's lower arms trembled with fatigue. Mars's movements grew less graceful, more labored. Even Krev showed signs of strain, his breathing heavy and scales dull. Lucy, however, maintained a steady pace. The heavy pack still weighed on her shoulders, but her specialized training with Major Powell had prepared her for this type of endurance challenge. When Fen stumbled on a steep incline, Lucy was the first to reach her, helping the Aquari regain her footing. Thank you, Fen said, surprise evident in her voice. You are stronger than you appear. By nightfall, tensions were high. The team was behind schedule, and the extraction point was still a full day's journey away. We must move faster tomorrow, Krev insisted, his voice harsher than usual with fatigue. Other teams will reach the extraction point before us. The others need rest, Lucy said, surprising herself with her boldness. Pushing harder will only slow us down more. Krev rose to his full height, towering over her. You question my leadership, human? I'm offering tactical input, Lucy replied. Calmly. Human perspective, isn't that why the Academy accepted me? After a tense moment, Krev sat back down. We will rest for 6 hours, then continue. No more discussion. The night passed uneasily. Lucy took her watch, and then an extra shift when Mars proved too exhausted to wake for hers. By morning, Lucy had slept less than any of them but felt relatively strong. The third day brought disaster. The terrain shifted to a swampy landscape with toxic mists and unstable ground. Halfway through the morning, Dozik stepped on what appeared to be solid ground only to sink up to his chest in caustic mud. The team pulled him out, but his lower right arm was badly burned by the chemicals. An hour later, Krev collapsed, his body shutting down from a combination of toxic exposure and exhaustion. With their leader incapacitated and Dozik injured, the team looked at each other uncertainly. What now? Fen asked, her voice quavering. Lucy looked at each of them, then at the map on her device. They were still 8 hours from extraction, and the most dangerous terrain lay ahead. The simulation was testing them, not just physically, but mentally. How would they handle crisis? I'll take lead, Lucy said firmly, pulling the supply pack higher on her shoulders. Mars, help Dozik. Fen, you and I will carry Krev. We move, together, slow and steady. To her surprise, no one argued. They were beyond species pride now. Survival was all that mattered, and Lucy was the only one still functioning at full capacity. As she began leading them through the swamp, Lucy realized something important. This wasn't about proving humans were better. It was about proving they were different, and that difference had value. Team 7 emerged from the survival challenge battered but intact. Lucy led them to the extraction point, carrying Krev on her back for the final stretch. They finished third out of 20 teams, a placement no one had expected from a group with a human member. The academy buzzed with talk of their performance. Lucy tried to ignore the stares and whispers as she entered the mess hall the day after the challenge ended. "Carter, join us," called Tazra, waving with her upper right arm. Lucy hesitated, then made her way to the table where her roommate sat, with several other cadets including Zell. "Your team's performance was impressive," said a female Mirax that Lucy recognized as Nyx, one of the top-ranked cadets, "especially considering your disadvantages." Lucy set down her tray. "You mean having a human, or having our leader collapse halfway through?" "Both," Nyx replied, her feline features unreadable. "Yet you adapted. Interesting." Before Lucy could respond, a hush fell over the mess hall. Commander Vexthar had entered, accompanied by Major Powell and the Academy's director, a tall, elegant Solari named Shen Avix. Director Avix stepped forward. "Attention, cadets. The results of the survival challenge have been fully analyzed. As is tradition, we will now reveal the individual performance metrics that contributed to each team's success or failure." The room's main display activated, showing team rankings and individual scores. Lucy scanned the list for her name, expecting to find it in the middle or lower section. "Team 7's third-place finish warrants special attention," continued the director. "Their success came despite significant adversity, including the incapacitation of their assigned leader." Commander Vexthar stepped forward, his expression stern. "The individual metrics reveal something unexpected." He gestured, and the display changed to show detailed physiological data. While Cadet Krev began with the highest physical capacity, his performance decreased by 62% over the 3-day period. Similar patterns appeared in most cadets across all teams. The display shifted again, highlighting one line of data in bright blue. Cadet Lucy Carter, however, showed a performance reduction of only 17%. Her endurance rating exceeded every other cadet in the challenge. Lucy felt the entire mess hall turn to stare at her. She kept her eyes fixed on the display, hardly believing what she was seeing. Major Powell stepped forward. "What we're observing here, cadets, is the difference between peak performance and sustained performance. Many species evolved for bursts of intense activity followed by recovery periods. Humans evolved as persistence hunters, maintaining moderate output over extended durations." Director Avix raised his slender hand. "This reveals a bias in our training and assessment models. We have been measuring the wrong variables for certain species. Commander Vexthar, please explain the adjustments we will be implementing." The Dravek commander looked slightly uncomfortable, but nodded. "Effective. Immediately, endurance and adaptability will be given greater weight in overall combat assessments. Additionally," he paused, seeming to struggle with his next words, "I will be working with Major Powell to incorporate human combat methodologies into our training program." Murmurs spread through the room. Lucy caught Zell's eye across the table. The Solari's skin was pulsing with excited patterns. After the announcement, Lucy headed to her combat training class. As she entered the training arena, she found a group of cadets gathered around Dren, a male Mirax known for his exceptional combat scores. "The human got lucky in the survival challenge," Dren was saying, his tail lashing with agitation. "Endurance means nothing in real combat. A slow fighter is a dead fighter." He noticed Lucy and turned to face her. "Isn't that right, human? You might be able to jog for hours, but you'd never last in a real fight." Lucy was about to walk away when she remembered Major Powell's advice. "Sometimes you have to stand your ground to earn respect." "Why don't we find out?" Lucy said, keeping her voice calm. "A proper test." Dren's whiskers twitched with interest. "What kind of test?" "The gauntlet," Lucy replied, naming the intensive combat course normally reserved for final year assessment. A hush fell over the gathered cadets. The gauntlet was legendary for its difficulty, a fully immersive combat simulation that adapted to the fighter's moves and weaknesses. "You wouldn't last 5 minutes, Dren scoffed. "Then you have nothing to worry about," Lucy countered. "Unless you're afraid to be shown up by a human?" Dren's fur bristled. "I accept your challenge. We'll see who lasts longer in the gauntlet." That evening, Lucy met with Zell in a quiet corner of the library, I may have made a terrible mistake, she admitted, explaining about the challenge. Zell's skin darkened with concern. The gauntlet is designed for final-year cadets. No first year has ever completed it. I know, Lucy groaned. But I couldn't. Back down. Dren's been undermining me since the survival challenge results were posted. There may be a way to even the odds. Zell activated his device, bringing up the Academy's training system files. The gauntlet automatically adjusts its difficulty based on the physical capabilities of each species, except humans. Lucy leaned forward. What do you mean? Your species is new to the Academy. The system doesn't have proper baseline data for human capabilities, so it uses an average of other species. Zell's fingers moved quickly over the screen. The simulation will be calibrated for someone with twice your natural strength. So I'll be fighting at a massive disadvantage, Lucy said, her heart sinking. Yes, but... Zell's skin pulsed with excitement. The gauntlet isn't just about brute force. It tests tactical thinking, adaptability, and endurance, your strengths. Can we recalibrate it? Not without administrative access, but we can study its patterns. Zell pulled up more files. I've been analyzing the gauntlet scenarios. There are patterns, exploitable weaknesses. For the next week, Lucy split her time between physical training with Major Powell and strategy sessions with Zell. Word of the challenge spread throughout the Academy, and a new betting pool formed. Most cadets put their credits on Dren, but Lucy noticed a small group, including Tazra and some members of Team 7, betting on her. The night before the challenge, Lucy couldn't sleep. She slipped out of bed and headed to the observation deck, a quiet space with a view of the stars. To her surprise, she found Commander Vexthar already there. Cadet Carter, he acknowledged with a nod. Nervous about tomorrow's challenge? Yes, sir, Lucy admitted. The Dravek studied her for a long moment. The gauntlet was designed to test warriors with natural advantages: strength, speed, innate weapons. He gestured to his own clawed hands. You possess none of these. No, sir. I don't. Yet you accepted this challenge. Why? Lucy looked out at the stars. Because sometimes you have to show what you're capable of, even when the odds are against you. Isn't that what being a warrior means? Vexthar made a sound that might have been a chuckle. Perhaps there is wisdom in human thinking after all. He turned to leave, then paused. The gauntlet tests more than physical ability, Cadet. Remember that tomorrow. As he walked away, Lucy wondered if the commander had just given her advice. She returned to her room with a new determination. Tomorrow would either be her greatest triumph or her most humiliating defeat. Either way, she would face it like a human, adaptable, persistent, and full of surprises. The day of the Gauntlet Challenge arrived. The Academy's main combat arena was packed with spectators, not just cadets but instructors and even some visiting military officials. Everyone wanted to see the human who had defied expectations face off against one of the Academy's top combat students. Lucy stood at the entrance to the gauntlet chamber, trying to control her breathing. She wore the standard combat suit, modified slightly by Major Powell to better fit human proportions. Around her neck hung a simple metal chain with a small earthstone, a gift from her father when she left for the Academy. Remember what we discussed, Zell said quietly beside her. The simulation will expect you to fight like them. Don't. Lucy nodded. Fight like a human. On the other side of the arena, Dren stretched his limber Mirax body, his movements confident and precise. He caught Lucy watching and smirked, showing sharp teeth. Director Avix stepped onto the central platform. Today we witness an unusual event, a first-year cadet volunteering for the gauntlet. The rules are simple. Each participant will enter a separate gauntlet chamber. The simulation will become progressively more difficult until the cadet is defeated or completes all 10 levels. Performance will be measured by time elapsed and levels completed. Commander Vexithar stepped forward. Cadet Dren will enter Chamber 1. Cadet Carter will enter Chamber 2. The simulation begins in 3 minutes. Major Powell approached Lucy as the crowd dispersed to their viewing stations. "Carter, you've studied the gauntlet extensively with Cadet Zell. You know what to expect." "Yes, ma'am." "Then remember this. The gauntlet was designed to test warriors who rely on strength and speed. It doesn't know what to do with someone like you." Powell's expression was serious, but her eyes held confidence. "Show them what humans can do." Lucy entered the simulation chamber, a plain white room that would transform once the program began. She stood in the center, centering herself as she had been taught. A voice announced, "Gauntlet simulation commencing in 3, 2, 1. The white room dissolved, replaced by a barren, rocky landscape. Before Lucy stood a single opponent, a basic combat drone modeled after a Drevek warrior, but slower and less intelligent than the real thing. Lucy didn't wait for it to attack. She moved first, circling to force the drone to turn. As expected, it lunged with brute strength. Lucy sidestepped, using the drone's momentum to send it stumbling past her. Before it could recover, she struck precisely at the weak point Zell had identified in its neck joint. The drone collapsed, and the landscape shifted. Level 2 presented 2 opponents in a forest setting. Lucy used the trees for cover, separating the drones and defeating them one at a time. Level 3, Level 4, Level 5. Each environment more challenging, each set of opponents more dangerous. Lucy felt herself tiring, but pushed through. This wasn't about raw strength. It was about endurance, adaptability, and using the environment to her advantage. By Level 6, Lucy was beyond anything a first year had ever achieved in the gauntlet. The viewing screens outside showed her progress alongside Dren's. The Mirax was still ahead, his natural combat abilities serving him well, but he was showing signs of fatigue. In the observation area, Tazra watched with all 4 eyes wide. The human fight, strangely. Not strange, Major Powell corrected. Different. She doesn't try to overpower her opponents. She outthinks them, outlasts them. Level 7 brought a pack of simulated Mirax hunters in a swamp environment. Lucy remembered her training in the survival challenge and used the unstable ground to her advantage, luring the faster opponents into areas where they would sink or slow. Outside, the audience watched in growing amazement as Lucy completed Level 7 while Dren was still struggling with the same level. The Mirax cadet's perfect technique was beginning to falter as fatigue set in. "Impossible," Commander Vexthar muttered, his scaled brow furrowed. "Not impossible," Director Avix replied calmly. "Merely unexpected. We have been measuring combat effectiveness by our own standards for too long." Level 8 presented Lucy with a new challenge, a single, highly intelligent opponent that adapted to her tactics. Each time she used a technique, the simulation learned and countered it. Lucy realized she needed to be unpredictable, using moves she had never tried before. She drew on everything she had learned, Drevek power techniques modified for human leverage, Kintari multi-point attacks adapted for 2 arms instead of 4, Mirax agility patterns slowed but made more efficient. She created a hybrid fighting style on the spot, one that the simulation couldn't predict because it had never seen it before. Outside, the crowd had fallen silent, watching in awe as the human cadet fought in a way none of them had seen before. "She's combining our techniques," Tazra said in wonder, taking pieces of each species' combat forms and creating something new. Level 9 pushed Lucy to her limits. The environment shifted constantly, desert to tundra to ocean shore, requiring immediate adaptation. The opponents attacked in coordinated groups, forcing her to think tactically while physically exhausted. 4 hours into the simulation, Dren's run ended midway through Level 9. The Mirax cadet emerged from his chamber, fur matted with sweat, breathing heavily. He looked at the screens in disbelief as Lucy continued to fight. "How is she still going?" he demanded. "Humans don't have your speed or strength," Major Powell said, loud enough for all to hear. "But they can suffer and continue. It's what we evolved to do." Level 10, the final level that no first year had ever reached. Lucy's muscles screamed in protest, but she pushed through the pain. The challenge presented her with a mirror opponent, a drone that looked human but moved with the combined strengths of all the Academy's species. Instead of fighting it directly, Lucy employed psychological tactics. She retreated, feigned weakness, then struck when the drone overcommitted. She used the shifting environment, making the battlefield itself her weapon. After 6 grueling hours, Lucy defeated the final opponent. The simulation faded, leaving her standing alone in the White Room, exhausted but victorious. She had completed the entire gauntlet, all 10 levels, setting a new Academy record for a first-year cadet. When Lucy emerged from the chamber, the entire arena fell silent. Then, to her surprise, Tazra began to clap with all 4 hands. Zell joined, then Major Powell. One by one, the other cadets and even the instructors joined in until the arena filled with applause. Commander Vexthar approached Lucy, his expression solemn. "Cadet Carter, your performance today has adjusted my understanding of human capabilities." He extended his hand in a human gesture of respect. "Well fought." Director Avix stepped forward. "This demonstration reveals much about our assumptions and biases. From this day forward, the Academy will implement new training protocols that recognize the value of endurance, adaptability, and psychological warfare, areas where humans excel." Lucy stood tall despite her exhaustion. She had come to prove that humans belonged among the stars. Today, she had done more than that. She had shown that humans didn't just belong, they brought something unique and valuable to the galaxy as a... The crowd dispersed. Dren approached her. The Mirax's earlier arrogance was gone, replaced by reluctant respect. "Your fighting style was unorthodox, but effective. Different species, different approaches," Lucy replied. Dren nodded slowly. "Perhaps you could show me some of those techniques sometime." It wasn't friendship, not yet, but it was a beginning. That night, Lucy received a message from Earth's military command. Based on her performance, the Galactic Confederation had requested a full cohort of human cadets for the next academic year. She would help design their training program, focusing on uniquely human approaches to combat. As Lucy looked out at the stars from her room, Tazra joined her by the window. "You have brought honor to your species today," the Kintari said quietly, "and taught us all an important lesson." "What lesson is that?" Lucy asked. Tazra's 4 eyes blinked in sequence, a gesture of respect. "That strength comes in many forms, and sometimes the most valuable warrior is not the strongest or fastest, but the one who never gives up." Lucy smiled. She had come to the Academy as a joke, an experiment, a token human. She would continue as something else entirely, a pioneer, showing the galaxy what humans could really do.